Hey mobile bartenders, welcome to Mobile Bar Startup. My name is Don and I own HD Liquid Catering based in Dallas, Texas. I started my mobile bar business in 2000 and since then we have done thousands of weddings and events and pretty much seen everything. We've also grown our business out of the garage back in 2000 into a warehouse with 3 full-time salespeople, management, warehouse team, and drivers along with countless numbers of bartenders. Mobile Bar Startup is about sharing with you everything that we have been through growing our business in hopes that I can help you answer questions about the business and save you time and money in the process. And just remember, none of this is business or financial or personal advice. I'm just sharing all the things that I've done to help us get to where we are. Oh, are we live? Hey, everyone. My name is Don. I am with Mobile Bar Startup, and I own a company called HD Liquid Catering here in Dallas. Welcome to our first official live. Hey, Emily, how's it going? Oh, stop. I'm my goat. Nah. Thanks for coming on. This is kind of like a little nerve-wracking for me. Can you guys hear me okay, or can you hear me okay? So we're just here kind of chatting, it's a Thursday night chat. Going into this weekend, it's actually kind of slow weekend for us. We only got about like 3 events going on. So that's it. Hey, Emily, where are you from? If you don't mind me asking. Obviously a little bit of a delay. Right, no, that's okay. There's going to be a little bit of delay here, but we are good. Oh, awesome. Well, hey, one less thing to worry about. And by the way, I'm here with my producer, Clark, who's just going to be sending me stuff. And if whoever's watching, if you can see, this is kind of like our little setup right here. So this is us. Come back to here. Oh, Denton, Texas. I graduated from UNT back in, I don't know, the 1800s. So I'm kind of old in that way. No, not really. Oh, Mamacita Margarita. That's right. I've seen your stuff. Your stuff looks really, really good. I can't wait to actually, I don't know if we've met in person, but I don't think we have, but I've actually seen your website. I've seen your Facebook, and yeah, all your stuff looks really, really good. So yeah, that's it. I think I was reading, that you're also, I guess you're also helping Sarah on Mobile Bev Pros doing some community engagement. That's right. So yeah, that's kind of it. So we're here today. We're just kind of hanging out. So Emily, are you still doing your business now, or are you just kind of like working mostly with Sarah for MVP? And we're going to switch over now to our... Okay, that's awesome. Speaking of MVP, I've got that right over here. That's one of my favorite Facebook pages, and I think a lot of times I just scroll through here, and the biggest reason why I wanted to start this live stream is I go through and see everybody's questions, and I really want to chime in and type it out, but I feel like I can't type that fast, and I don't think anybody can really understand what I'm talking about whenever I answer, and I feel like every time I answer it's gonna lead to more questions, and I'm just not on social media that much. So yeah, let's see what you've got here. So I want to know how you ramp up your marketing season, the timeline, and you promote and when. Okay, that's a great question. For us, really, what I've been doing pretty much of focusing on pretty much when I started HD in 2016 is networking. For us, January is our is basically booking season. We do bridal shows. We do a lot of, that's kind of like our go time for marketing between January, February, and March, because a lot of people got, engagement season obviously was over the holidays, throughout Christmas, Thanksgiving, New Year's, and everything. And so all the big bridal shows are happening in January and February and March. And so that's what we really focus on. So it works really great for us because, especially bridal shows. I know a lot of people are kind of intimidated by bridal shows, but for us, it's been a really great way to connect with people right as soon as they get engaged after the holidays. And also, there's a lot of people that are already ready to book for stuff either in the fall or in May. So that's kind of like when we do it. And then, like I said, networking is kind of like our number one way to do marketing because I really suck at social media. Our social media manager left a few months ago. She went on to become a flight attendant, which has been her dream job. So we kind of miss her so much. But in the meantime, really, that's kind of what it is. I hope that kind of helps. I don't know if you do a lot of networking. I know it's really hard because, especially if you're doing this by yourself, because between having to go travel everywhere and do everything, and then bridal shows, like I said, it's really hard when you're doing, when you're a solopreneur and doing it by yourself. But I'll tell you what, I actually use bridal shows, and this is kind of like weird to say, but I don't really use bridal shows to meet brides as much as I like to meet vendors. I'll use it as an opportunity to spend a whole day or 2 days and meeting venues and meeting other people that could possibly help promote our brand. And also, because our number one thing for HD is getting on to venues, because as soon as we get on venues and then we start getting promoted through them as their exclusive or their preferred vendor, then it really works out well for us, especially out there in the Denton area. It's kind of blowing up over there in the last few years, especially Aubrey too. There's a lot of really great venues out there. I don't know how many you've been out there too, but pretty cool. Hopefully that helped, that question right there. Like I was going back to talking earlier, I like to go through here on the Mobile Bev Pros website and or Facebook and just kind of like, we're just going to answer some people's questions as we go. Let's see. It's a great lead. The second question, what's some of the first tasks you hired out when you gained traction in business? The number one thing is I hired in 2014. I actually had a business called Party Bartenders as well before I created HD. And the longest time, the hardest thing for me to do was actually send proposals, because I was awful in that. I was doing so many other things. I still had like a full-time job, a little bit bartending on, actually not a full-time job, but a part-time job bartending on the side. And at the same time, I was really bad. I'm a huge procrastinator. And so I would get so many leads, but I was so bad at sending proposals because, as soon as you send a proposal, it's not just sending it and you're done. What actually happens is, oh my gosh, see, thank you, Clark. You need to tell me when I have that off. See, this is why you need a producer. But going back to it is like the first person I actually hired was just an administrative assistant, and all she did was answer emails, take phone calls, and send proposals. That was it. Send proposals, book it, everything else, and then after that, it just became something where as she got better at it, we were able to add more tasks to her, or more responsibilities to her position. But let me tell you something. That was 2014. I got lucky. You talk about getting breaks, when you're in business and being in the right place at the right time. I found my first assistant I was walking my dog, and then my neighbor was walking his dog, and he said, my girlfriend is looking for a job. And I said, I have something, but all I can do is pay her $10 an hour under the table. It was like, mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a big truck.
Correct. So all I said was, look, all I can do is pay you $10 an hour, and I have 20 hours a week for you. And that's it. And I could also give you events on the weekends. And like I said, lucky enough, she took it. And then from there, we kind of grew it. And she got so good at it, she stayed with us for pretty much almost like 6 years before she moved on to another great position. And so that was, I'll tell you what, that was the one thing that really took a lot of pressure off of me, because even to this day right now, like sales, sending proposals, answering the phone is like the number one thing. It's like, because we are able to send out proposals faster than anybody, And then especially for us not being automated either, it's really important that they don't get a voicemail. And then when they call us, they either, if they do leave a voicemail, we call back immediately, or we can have proposals out to them within usually same business day or immediately the next business day. So that was kind of like the number one thing for us. As for me especially, was hiring somebody, that admin doing 20 hours a week, really just basically working from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. And then after that, just kind of answering emails, sending proposals, and closing events. So, yeah, that was that. And then, hopefully that helped. And then, let's see, I'm trying to... Oh, you're welcome. I really... do you actually go out and do any kind of networking events out in the area, or do you just, because I'd like to meet you, set up a time to see, because I know obviously I'll see you here in a couple of weeks for your Dallas event, and then we're actually going to go to dinner the night before, so that's what we're going to do. And then Clark, my producer / photographer, is actually going to also be taking pictures and video of your event. So I'm looking forward to that. So that's that. Yeah. Anybody else online? Clark, anybody else online? I can't. Chat just moves by so fast. So. Nope. That's it right there.
Audience of one.
Oh, no. Hey, you know what? That's the best audience right there. Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much, Emily. I appreciate that. So if you have any other questions, let me know. Clark will let me know, too. And then you know how to reach me. You can find me on Facebook. In fact, actually, I will find you, and we can be Facebook friends if we can do that. Okay, well, I'm not good at this right now, so we'll do that here in a little bit. But I will find you and do that. But in the meantime, right now, I got a lot of questions. I was just looking through Facebook over here, and then let me scooch over to our other screen. And you know what's funny is, like, as much as we go through, as many events as we go through, and as many proposals as we send out, you know what? I feel kind of left out in this whole Paul Fowler situation, because I don't think we've gotten any one of these. I might be a little bit far removed from all this, but so far nobody's really talked about us getting something like this. So let me tell you something, Paul Fowler, if you're out there, if you're watching, I'm kind of butthurt a little bit that you haven't tried to pull a scam on us. And then, let's see, keep going. I think there was somebody who's question here. Oh, somebody was asking, who teaches Flair? You know, that's kind of funny. Remember Clark back in, so yeah, I was with TGI Fridays back in like.
Shake, rattle, and porch.
Right. I was in with TGI Fridays. That was actually my first bartending gig back in like 1996.
Flair bartending.
Right.
Was different.
Right, let me tell you something, okay? Like, I don't really like to push this too much back, but back in like 2002, yours truly right here was the number 3 in the world in tandem bartending for TGI Fridays. So you can actually find that on YouTube somewhere.
You gotta dive deep.
You gotta dive deep, yeah, you do. And that was back in, holy cow, man, that was 20 years ago. Jesus, 20 years ago, man, where's the time gone? And then, but Flair really is, man, if you don't work at a place, I don't really know any places other than like TGI Fridays that really pushes even now. I think they still do it because they do a Flair competition all the time. The last time I did Flair in front of the public was probably when I worked at Sherlock's back in 03. Yeah, no, 03, they asked me to do something. Actually, I did a couple of things there, so I did stuff, but literally Flair, you just have to YouTube that. Like, YouTube's the only people that will teach you Flair, and then you just kind of have to start with basics, and then buy a couple of those plastic Flair bottles. Or back in the day when we used to do it, you would take old bottles and then tape it up in duct tape so it doesn't shatter all over the place. But other than that, and then it's it's kind of fun. It was easy. You got to work at a place that they kind of promote it or they encourage it, because if not, you're just going to have a bunch of pissed off people wanting to, like, hey, stop juggling, just give me a Michelob Ultra. Jesus. I don't want to wait 15 minutes. I don't want to wait 15 minutes for an Ultra. So, but if you work at a place that kind of, that encourages it, then it's a lot of fun. So, yeah, that's that. Then, let's see, sparkling kegs. We don't really do that. And, yep, Joel's talking about their cost analysis webinar. I don't know if anybody's watching and know who Joel Black is. He has Black Lab events out of California, even though he's out in LA right now. He actually owns a company called eCinch, and I'm really intrigued by it. And then I'm going to actually get with him this week, because he is, I keep forgetting to turn on my second screen right there. Hello. Yeah, he's got eCinch, and I watched another presentation with Joel and Sarah last week, and I really need to get started on this, because a lot of times we're dealing with so many clients, a lot of looky-loos that are really taking up a lot of our time. I mean, we have three full-time sales managers, on staff, and then a lot of times they're answering the same questions over and over again, and it's starting to get to a point to where I would really like it if we focused more on sales and taking care of the the client experience rather than just answering questions over and over. So I'm really looking forward to using this, because I know Sarah uses it, and I know definitely Joel does. And then I love the idea of being able to get and book and close events without really having to worry about having to answer questions over and over again. So I'm looking forward to that. So if you guys are interested, just go to e-cinch.com to get more info on it. Let's see, what else?
New programmer / sidekick, Danielle, is incredible too. She was a Google IT person.
Yeah, that is awesome. Yeah, she reached out to me, so I can't wait to get that settled in, because let me tell you something. It's like the amount of work we put into it, like the amount of hours that we put into like emails is ridiculous. So if I can actually focus that on sales, let me go back to our camera one right here. Yeah, if we can focus on actually client experience, that is something that would really elevate just our clientele and our, just the basically like the amount of revenue we bring in for each booking. So I can't wait to get with them on that. Oh, there's me posting yesterday. Yeah, blah blah blah. Oh, and then hey, there's you, Emily. Actually, I read that. How did that go for you? Like, what kind of how did that work out for you as far as like seeing with the pricing challenge and everything? Is like I'm kind of curious about that for you, and it's like, and then are you kind of pricing right where you should be, or are you kind of like under or over that? Because I think this is something that I always struggle with all the time as far as pricing goes, because when I first started, I mean, literally I did my first event back in 2000, when I had party bartenders, and I charged $100 for literally full mixer package, everything, and then I spent $125. So that was a nice little net negative $25. But for me, I always feel like, look, if I don't make money, I need to learn something, and so that's just as valuable as making money. That's kind of like what I wanted to talk about, a little bit today is, as much as you want to like charge, what you're worth, a lot of times too, if you're just starting in the business and you don't know like anything, or, this is something that you're just kind of, I'm also a believer in learning through, just learning through experience. Like, just take on events, not for the sake of being profitable at first, but just for the sake of learning. Because there's so many times where we just go into something, especially at the beginning, that there's nothing that you could there's nobody could tell you anything that you learn on the field or, you know what, like in the fire of things, because let me tell you something. It is like, oh, am I on there? Oh, you did? Okay, sorry. Yeah, so there's nothing really, you know, more more helpful than actually learning trial by fire. And it's because there's a lot of things that, especially my processes, I got better and faster as I learned, you know. And I'm a big believer in sometimes you win and sometimes you learn kind of philosophy, where, you know, it's like, just as long as you either make money or you learn something from it, either way, you know. It's like, look, I've done events for free just to see how it would be, or we've done events where I knew I was going to lose money on it, but I needed to know what it felt like to do it, so I knew how to price it out, because there's only, like, look, you know, sometimes you don't know what you don't know, so you have to jump in there and, you know, take a risk, and then just be able to know that you can chalk it up as a learning experience. So let me see, you were what? You were like 30% under, meaning, yeah, you had a 10% profit margin. Yep. Yeah, it kind of becomes, yeah, that is very eye-opening right there. You know, the good thing about it is sometimes once you get your processes going and then you have more events, you can actually kind of increase your profit margin the more events you do, just because, you know, you're able to roll through and do more of your, kind of go through your expenses are the same as you would one event versus like 5 events. So the more you do, that actually helps out quite a bit. But yeah, definitely. Well, I'm glad that kind of, yeah, because that's a really, yeah, that's a sweet number right there for 100 people. You know, that is definitely your ideal client. And I wish everybody here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area kind of decided that, you know what, like they could do that, you know, because, man, it's ridiculous how ridiculous people are about events. You know, like we've sent people out just for staffing before, and, you know, we would charge like $300-400 just for a bartender to send out, and then when the bartender gets there, people are like, so where's the liquor? Where's all this? I'm like, I don't know, dude. Where is it? You're supposed to have it. And they're like, no, you're supposed to have it. Like, I don't know what world you're coming from where you think $400 gets you a bartender, mixers, and all the liquors. So somebody better do a beer run, you know, because, yeah, or if not, we're just going to be sitting around with our hands in our pockets having a good time. So it said, what, it took you one event in 110-degree heat to realize, yes. Oh, my God. That's another thing, too, I don't want to talk about, is people putting us bartenders outside for cocktail hour in, you know, in 110, 120-degree heat. That's just really ridiculous. A lot of times, too, I'll blame planners for that. I don't really even blame brides as much as, like, planners, because especially brides with planners that still allow you to do cocktail hour, you know, because then, like, somebody should have stopped them right then and there is what I say. But, oh, well, you know, that's why they're planners. They're professionals. They know what's up, right?
They like to think they're professionals.
Nope. Nope. But I love them, though. I love them. Let's see. Going down to it. Trailer builds. Let's see. Somebody's asking about emails. Oh, man. I wish I could. Let's see if I can answer something here. I'm kind of like the worst person, like I said, on the description for this channel right here for this live stream. Like, oh, I am not the guy to talk to about signature cocktails. My business partner Heather, the H and the HD, is kind of the one that's really good at concocting all our cocktails and making them look pretty. If I had it my way, you know, we'd have just margaritas and Michelob Ultra for signature cocktails, because I'm all about just selling it, you know. It's like, or we'll just make something that looks really pretty. But all my signature cocktails are literally simple, one liquor, one mixer kind of deal. And I just, you know, and then I just like to make stuff that I know everybody will drink, like margaritas, right, Emily? Let's see here. Yeah, I guess I kind of saw more people asking questions over here. Let me see. God, I need to get better at this, guys. To get better at my switching over from our first screen to our third screen. Let's see here. Yep, there's Joel again. What's up, Joel? Actually, I'm going to switch over to the mobile bartenders group. And let's see what kind of new posts people have on there and see if they can kind of help out. Are you finally going to be the one to start a keg? Listen, kegs can go.
More trouble than it's worth.
Listen, like kegs can go F themselves, I mean, it's like we literally have to charge people more for kegs, and it's like, and every single time they do kegs, it's literally like I told you so.
They think it's cool.
They think it's cool, and then they think that it's cheaper because that's what, like when they go to a bar, it's way cheaper. But it's like it's easier because like when you work in a at a bar, like I used to work at Sherlock's, and then so when we did a keg drop, it was like, okay, we're doing a 36 keg drop for Miller Lite, so that's how you can get them for like $75 a piece. But if you're just buying one or two kegs, I mean, it's literally like you are going to the store, you got to get the keg, you got to get the pump, got to get the damn trash cans. Like, listen, it takes more ice to ice down one keg, like literally sometimes even 60 to 70 pounds to fill up a trash can, and it's heavy as F. And then to top it off, right, that's like in one keg, it's like literally 7 cases of beer, So like, look, try to see if you can put, like 3 kegs behind like a Prius, but I can put 21 cases of canned beer behind a Prius, and then that's that, and then even use 1/3 of the ice. So
and a lot of it's wasted too. A lot of the beer.
Dude, it's always wasted, man. Listen, I've got 7 kegs sitting in the cooler back there in the shop because I don't, they thought they were going to need 7 kegs for cocktail hour for 45 minutes for 150 people.
Is it a frat party?
No, man, it was just like an outdoor thing. They had one of those, they had one of our, the tap trailers. It wasn't ours, it was another company, but, they were like adamant, like, yeah, we know we drink beer, so. We have to, God, you need to help me switch this thing over, man. Switch it over, man, because if I have it sitting on there way too long, that's going to be, there you go. Yeah, thank you very much, man, because, I was like, I can only do one thing at a time.
Yeah.
So, let's see. Let's switch over to here real quick. Yeah, I wish I could start a Keg 911 hotline, but no, I think we'd be overrun. Let's see. Somebody's asking, do you guys have jobs other than event bartending business? Actually, you know what? That's kind of a good question. Back in, I used to, before I started mobile bartending business back in 2000, and I didn't actually start doing this full time until 2014. And I knew kind of like, all right, this is going to be a make it or break it kind of thing for me. I've always had little side gigs along the way, and then finally I decided, like, look, if the kind of business I was doing with doing it part-time was really good, I just thought, how much could I actually do doing this thing full-time? So after I committed, it just kind of like magically happened that business kind of just shows up when you're ready for it. So that's why anybody who's afraid, everybody's on the cusp of, jumping into this thing full time. I'll tell you what, you should really bet on yourself and feel good about yourself, because as long as you're still doing a job, it's hard to really grow your business. And also, by the way, for everybody out there, listen, I'm just going to throw this out there. This is not financial advice or legal advice or marital advice or anything like that. I'm just a guy sharing my mobile bartending experiences. So please don't take anything I say and and say, well, hey, Don said that I should do this. It's like, nope. I'm just saying that, hey, this is what I did, but this is like here. Oh, yeah, look at that. Joel, what's up, man? I don't know if you just came on, but I've just been on I've actually got your website here. I got and then I actually also have, let me throw it right here. I've actually got your website right here. I was just talking earlier with Emily about how I can't wait to finally put put us on eCinch. And then I've also got your website over here, man. I love it. This is so clean and so good. Kind of like I've got like website envy right now. To be honest with you, man, it's like, for everybody that's out there, like, listen, go check out blacklabventures.com. I mean, this is tight right over here. And then at the same time, if you want to see how Joel does all of his automated processes, go to here and then go to eCinch and set it up, because that's what
he joined through my affiliate link.
Oh, wow. Look at that. That's how we do it right there. So, yeah, but Joel, I know we were talking, I was just talking to, I don't know what I was talking about before. We were just answering questions on here, actually, like at what people were doing or what people are doing other than, mobile bars and everything. So, like, when did you actually decide that you could go full time on your gig before, before, I don't know, I guess quitting everything? So, I don't know if you can hear me okay. And let's see what else we got. And I don't know how long, what our delay is on that. So let's see. Let me go to this right here. And then on here, I'll tell you what. I saw this post a couple of days ago. Somebody doing this bar, and I'll tell you what. This style of bar is actually one of my favorites. It's like there's a lot. Like we've got these little facade bars, and to me these are kind of like one of the best as far as like, because it doesn't take up that much room, and you can actually make it kind of like any way you want it. You can have it like, you can do herringbone style, you can do shiplap, you can do that kind of that tin in front of it. So
Joel just said when I got fired from my job.
Nice. That's kind of like the way to go. It's like, I'll tell you what, whenever back in 2000, I actually got fired from Fridays. I won't say why I got fired from it, but I got fired from Fridays, and then I decided, you know what? I was like, I need to do something else, and because I was still going to school full time, and I couldn't really get into something else. So, yeah, maybe that's what it is, man. Just just get fired, and then that's the way to success right there. That's actually somebody doing you a favor, because if they didn't, I probably would have been stuck doing that same job, even to this day. I would have worked my way up to middle management.
Like Waiting, the movie Waiting.
Right, exactly.
Great movie, by the way, Waiting.
You know what? So here's the thing: like I've never actually seen Waiting,
even
though as long as I've been waiting tables, yeah, I've never actually seen it. So I don't know what's up with that. I gotta go see it. Let's see. Oh man, I wish I was better at answering all these questions over here. Oh, there's another. Okay, it's the same person where they're asking about Flair. I'm like, man, it's like, is Flair making a comeback? Because, if not, I'm going to have to go find my old, next time I'm going to have to find my, it's like, actually, if you can go on YouTube, Clark, and try to search like Shake, Rattle, and Pour, like 2002. Right, oh, you are? Okay. Yeah, because that would actually be really cool to show off. But then, I don't even know. I don't want to scrub through the whole thing, but let's see. Let's go back to that right there. And, yeah, that's, let's see, calculator for alcohol and mixers, but, let's see. Yeah, I wish next time, I think I'm trying to see if we can do kind of like a more interactive kind of show right here. I'd like to do, I wish Joel, I don't know. Joel, do I have your number? Do you have my number? I'm trying to see if I can actually do a call-in kind of thing. Do you have like a minute or two to kind of play with me here and then see if this thing actually works as far as calling in like a radio show? Because I'd like to check this. I'd like to check it out and see what's up. But yeah, you say sometimes you need a push. Yeah, like I said, man, that's some divine intervention right there. If there's any way you can call it. And then, by the way, for everybody watching, welcome. This is our bar tasting studio here in Addison, Texas. Do you have my number? I don't know if you have my cell phone number. If not, I can. see if I actually.
Okay. I'm going to turn up, let me know when he calls, I'll crank up the volume.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, let me see if we can make this happen. Turn that on right there. And then also, if anybody's watching, I also like to have, I'm very visual kind of talker. So if there's anything I like to describe to people, I kind of like to go to my little whiteboard here. It's like, and then you can see how badly I write. But yeah, actually, let's see here.
Hello.
Yeah, can you see that? Yeah, you can see that all right. You know, but like I said, I'm kind of bad at. I suck at writing. Actually, I should have been a doctor, really. You know, with the kind of handwriting that I have.
He doesn't have your number.
All right, I'm gonna go with this. Let's call me on this, and anybody else that sees this, well, then you know what? That's cool.
We'll get that in
Yep.
a second.
Look at that. Yeah, we'll see how that goes, but we're trying this out, and then yeah, if you get that, I think that's an 817 right there.
Okay, so he's going to see that here in just a second.
Yeah. So how busy are you guys this weekend? Because I feel like this is our slowest weekend of the whole year. I mean, like 2 events on Saturday, which is kind of unheard of, and then 1 today, which is the most randomest thing we have. Actually, today we have one over at the Springs in Aubrey, Emily, and then because last year they kind of went away with using outside bartending companies because they have their own in-house company to service all their Springs venues. So, yeah, Joel, I don't know if you yeah, September does definitely it's literally like it's such a ramp up to go from like this weekend and then next weekend is like I don't have staff. All right, let's see if this. All right, hey Joel, can you hear me? Hello? Oh, hang on a second. Let me put you on our. Hey Joel, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yes.
First time watcher, long time fan.
Thanks, man. Sweet. Sweet. Yeah, if you can, like, turn down your it's like I don't know if there's any feedback or anything, but yeah. And thank you, Emily. I appreciate that. So yeah, I've got Joel with Black Lab Ventures. Is that what you call them? Just Black Lab Ventures or Black Lab Events?
Black Lab Events.
Nice.
This is the DBA. Black Lab Ventures is the empire, my friend.
Right.
I used to do a lot of consulting in addition to the event and brand work, so it was a Ventures. Now we're kind of just down to the event, given my priorities have shifted to being a crazy bartender who decided to start a technology startup.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. So, real quick question. When was the last time you were actually behind a bar doing an event?
December 2019.
Yep. Yeah, that's about right. Like nowadays, I like to put
And I wasn't actually the bartender, but I was there. I helped set up the coffee station.
Oh, okay.
I think I hopped behind the bar and made a drink, and then kind of just made sure the setup was solid, and then hung out with the clients, and then networked and bounced.
Yeah,
early.
mine was like I was doing some like pro bono stuff during COVID, just to help out. Just to help out a few new venues that were popping up around here, and just to kind of make it to where, I was trying to schmooze and get in, and it actually worked. So that was
LA was like so shut down throughout all of COVID. I did 3 events, and I think technically they were not. I wasn't supposed to be doing them. One was for like a group of doctors.
Yeah, dude.
I won't say who's a doctor.
Yeah, but over here it actually worked out pretty good because like pretty much a couple of months later everything opened up. Like nothing really like totally shut down like they did in California or New York. So
we got tortured. I experienced the the lowest of the lows in, I think, my business professional life. I learned a lot of resilience and humility. Apparently, I needed, a humble sandwich after humble sandwich for a while because I had all my eggs in the East Inch basket. I put everything into my personal savings, which, some people say don't do, but I was too impatient to wait to try to raise money, and I just wanted to build the thing,
That's awesome, man. That is awesome.
But it got tough. It did get tough, but we came through the other side.
Very nice, very nice. Yeah. So everything. So yeah, Emily says she can hear us both, and yeah, I just kind of like threw in this little feature today, and just kind of called an audible, and see if we can do a call in, and yeah, apparently it works out great. So I appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. So what do you got?
Man.
So yeah, how's everything else going? Everything's good. Lining up for events all for the fall and Christmas.
Yeah, we should have a pretty solid end of the year. Like you, this week was like weirdly dead. I got a call today at about noon. A client's like, "Any way you could do a bar in El Segundo at starting at 7 p.m. this evening?" I'm like, "Oh God!" I'm like, it's kind of slow this week. I've only got 2 events going on this weekend. It's pretty unusual, but my production manager was off, and I had to respect his choice to say no. That's how you keep employees for. He's been with me 11 years.
Wow.
And he was like, dude, because we got smashed last week, and I think we had five events on Saturday or something like that. And he's like my one-man operations, production, wrecking crew, running around, dropping stuff off at each event, or organizing U-Hauls if I have to have other leads come and pick up, at our kitchen, and so I was like, all right, dude. I totally respect your day off. We will turn down.
What's your fleet look like? Do you guys actually own, or do you just rent all your vans and trucks?
I have one van, and my catering, my partner, I have a 50-50 partner in Black Bob, Isaiah, LA Roots Catering. If anyone needs catering in LA, his food is awesome. He has a fleet, so if he's not busy, we'll borrow from him, and he's happy to do so to keep the costs down for the business and be the partner. Fill it up with gas and things like that, and vice versa. Our van gets better gas mileage because it's smaller, so he'll use ours during the week to do shopping and stuff. So just try to keep it in the family. So if we're both slammed, then U-Haul's right down the street.
Okay, man. So quick question to you too is like, what's the most events you've had to do in one day? Like, what's your most slam day ever?
I want to say
like number of events.
Yeah, it's not a huge number, like 7, 8. I think 8. Yeah, 8 in one day. A few of them were big ones, so it made it challenging. And it was I remember kind of early on we did 6 in one day, and one was for the owner of Formula One racing. And his driveway was sick. His cars, his house, his security wing was as big as my the house I grew up in, which was a pretty good decent sized house. But me and my partner, I think we were a couple of years in at that point, and we had our shit together, but we were still doing everything, and we had bartenders and day of staff, but we were doing all the batching, the load up, the prep, and going and trying to help make sure all the setup at each event went smooth. And I just remember we ended the day crying, and my partner did throw up at one point, and it was just out of exhaustion and just being tired and overly stressed because, our clientele expects perfection. It's a different level. It's a different beast of service. We can't just show up and pour simple, basic mixed drinks. Like, they expect fancy cocktails and beautiful, pristine garnishes. And
I'm on your website now, man. I'm on your website. That stresses me out looking at it too.
Nice. Yeah, that G-Eazy party was fun, though. Rapper's birthday party, super easy. Red Solo Cup, totally fun. They were giving out tattoos for free. They had a weed bar. It was fun.
I saw that. I saw that video.
I flew to LA for that one. I'm in the video for a quick second. But yeah, like the Walton family, I do events for them, and their glassware is like crystal, $600 a piece. Like, it's just the next level, and part of letting go and kind of backing off to do East-Inch, and obviously, like, I don't even live in LA anymore. I live in Colorado now. Is all my team now, obviously, because they've been in it through the thick. But yeah, in the early days, doing a lot of events, it's been nuts. But since COVID, honestly, I'm trying to keep it to a max of 4 a day because I'm rebuilding my team. Like, I still have some of my key members, but got a lot of new bartenders, new barbacks, and so I don't want to damage our reputation. So we've cut back a little bit. We're not going to make as much money as we did in 2019, but we'll do better than 2021 because that's kind of when we started to come out of COVID. But I'm kind of having to slow it down a little bit, make sure that the execution's perfect, and then rebuild and get people trained where I trust. That's the hardest part of not living there.
Oh, that's good, man. That's good. And then real quick too, what's the biggest event you ever did?
Our biggest event?
Mm-hmm.
The Rage video game launch party. We took over Ling Ling Row in Chinatown in downtown LA. I can't remember. It was a big time producer. The Black Keys performed, full huge stage setup.
Yeah, it's a big
we
deal.
had a few thousand people, and I think we had about 10 main bars, 2 smaller satellites. I probably had like 30 bartenders, 10 or 15 barbacks. It was I was partnered with a licensed guy, so I handled all the cocktail batching and staffing, and he handled all the permitting and the getting the booze. But we had a nice truck there and a U-Haul full of alcohol, and people got rowdy. It was crazy.
Damn, that's nice. I wish I could try. I wish we had more like celebrity fun type of events here in Dallas, but ours is just kind of like the ho hum. Or at least the ones that we see. It's like we're kind of like 80% weddings, really, and then some corporate events here along the way. But we're hoping those come back here pretty soon. But actually, what I wanted to ask you, because as I'm looking through all these, like all the people starting up their businesses here on there for mobile, it's like, what did you do for marketing when you first started? Like, I know I kind of started.
The same thing I do today. I network, and
Yep.
I got a deep referral, and I even give myself shit that we could do better by opening up other marketing channels, but I've kind of just gotten content with it, given like I'm really pursuing East-Inch. So, I mean, literally, I haven't done a social media post in over a year, which is not a good thing. Like, that's the next thing with my managers post-COVID. I'm training a new management, and we're going to get back to marketing, but tried and true, it's kept me in business for 12 years, making a good living is referrals. Every single event in the early days, I met every vendor at the event. If it was the owner or like a manager, I'd give them a cocktail because our cocktails are bomb. And I knew that would like immediately build trust and be like, oh, wow. And then I wouldn't ask for a referral, but I would follow up the next day or a few days later or whatever. And, always just like tell them how nice it was to work with them, and they pretty much offer to refer them, even though I know as the bar caterer I'm like the last guy hired, so I don't usually have an opportunity to refer a photographer or a food caterer or an event planner. But I think people just appreciate that, and at an event they can see the quality of your work. That builds trust pretty immediately. So yeah, every single event, introduce myself and give a card, and get a card, more importantly, because most people throw cards away, from the planner, photographer, caterer. So many caterers out there don't do bars, right? So they're a great resource. Venues, of course, getting in with like the best venues in LA that sustained us. That's like the bulk of it. And then the other thing I would do is one big one, how I got like the Waltons and Wahlberg and Mark Burnett, and the big producers and the celebs, the Glacier family, all these people, was I did these events. I found this little group called the Estate Manager Coalition, and they run the lives of the 1%. And they had monthly meetings. And I said, hey, what if I come and do a bar every month for you guys? And I did it for like a year, maybe a year and a half, forever, because I made so much money off of it. I didn't mind, and like towards the end, I would just staff it, whatever. I didn't care. It cost me like $700-800. I'd always get liquor sponsors because I'd worked for a bunch of brands and I knew, everyone in the community and the distributors and stuff, the brand reps. So we'd usually get some sponsors and get some free booze and just do those every month. And we would get tons of events from those. And then I took that same philosophy and I started approaching marketing agencies. This is how we built our corporate business, which before COVID was probably 60 to 70% of my business was corporate, which I love because their corporate clients so much easier to deal with than a wedding client. And the planning cycle is much shorter. So, but I did the same thing. I'd find agencies that represented the Nikes and the Googles and the Snapchat, and I would say, hey, can I do a free office happy hour for you? Let you guys check our stuff out. Those agencies are the ones that, again, hire the vendors for the events. So do free events, but if you do I don't recommend doing free events unless you're doing it in the right places for the right people. And then it can be a huge benefit if you know how to execute,
Yeah. I mean, that right there, like that kind of exposure is really, for me, there's two kinds of exposure. There's like, hey, it's us doing it. And then for us, the reason why we do like free events is because we want them to see exactly what it's like working with us. Because once they see like our processes and then how we do it, and then especially them seeing like we're not as high maintenance or, then they kind of say like, hey, it's easier to trust us after we've done like these free events with them. And the only time we ever do them is knowing that, hey, if we can, move on to bigger events too. So.
Exactly. And, Instagram photos look pretty and everything, but they can't taste it,
No,
When
absolutely.
someone tastes our cocktails, it's a game changer. So, that to me is the solid way to go.
Yeah. So I know you're in a big market, obviously, but what other groups did you actually like join any other kind of like networking groups, like any of the ILEAs or the NACEs or, MPI, anything like that?
I never got into the national groups. Honestly, I didn't really know about them until I started doing eSync.
Oh, really?
It became more on my radar. Yeah, they never got my Cater Source was the one that's marketed to me for a while. But I did have other local, there was a event planning group, all women group called Click, but they would let me come and be a vendor and do free events for them. And we're all like event planners, or they worked for restaurant groups and they were the event planners for the restaurant groups. So definitely doing those locally. But yeah, I've not gotten out on like the national stage, minus like publications, like, we got featured in People magazine for Julie Benz's wedding, and we were on Entertainment Tonight for Lance Bass's wedding, and those type of associations of like, but then you don't get any like branding exposure, right? No one's going, oh, and Black Love Events is doing the bar.
No, nobody cares.
Just have a shot of someone shaking a drink, but no one in the world knows what company that is. So it's a vanity market. It's vanity more than effective marketing, right?
Yeah.
I think People magazine, we did get applause. They did mention us, which was awesome.
That's cool. Yeah.
And the caterer that brought us on didn't get one, which I felt really bad about. But
oh man, we had one that we were on Martha Stewart weddings. That one actually that turned out really cool. But that was the only but we actually it was a vendor partner of ours, so we gave it at a really deep discount, and but it still worked out pretty good. But I think for networking for us, the relationships for us is really all about relationships. I mean, I wish I could. I can't drive it home more enough that that's where the bulk of our business comes from, and that's where, because when you're going for, I call them one and dones, especially brides or like these single events. Like I think there's so much work when you put into it, but then when you get into a referral network with venues and planners, it just kind of like business just snowballs. Don't you agree?
Oh, 100%. 100%. That's why, like, at eSync, I do a lot of coaching and helping people get set up. And, our mission with eSync is we don't sell software. We help people grow their businesses. And I stand behind that. So that's why I think someone posted the other day, like, guys, you got to meet with Joel. He's so gracious and he'll spend a ridiculous amount of time with you. And I think I was on the phone with him for 2 hours. I can't help myself. Like, I grew up in hospitality. I love to be of service. It just makes me feel good. I do it for me, not for anyone else. It's very selfish, but
I think that's what we know. It's like whenever I started doing this, I know you did an AMA. I wish I would have made that, but I always think about, it's like I've been in this business long enough. I like talking shop to people, especially the ones that are starting, and then I like to kind of just help people get along the way, and then try to shorten that learning curve for them, because when I first started this back in, like I said, 2000, I didn't know anybody that was doing this. I didn't even know that was a thing. And I went on AOL. I don't know if anybody remembers that. And I just searched bar catering, bartending companies, and I saw one out in Arizona. I think it was called Pour. Oh man, now I can't remember it now. Let me go to it real quick. It was. Do you know anybody out there in Phoenix, Arizona, Scottsdale?
I used to consult for Fox Restaurant Concept, which is based out of Scottsdale. So I helped do the bar menu and bar training for, a bunch of the restaurants, Olive and Ivy, North, Culinary Dropout, which is a cool one. They actually have a Culinary Dropout in Vegas now, or they've had it there for a while. But I haven't done any event work out there. I just did consulting for that group.
Okay. Oh, I just found it right there. So the company was called Pour Masters
Okay.
out of Arizona, and I just found it, and then I just called the guy out of nowhere, and just said, hey, it's like, hey, my name's Don, and I'm going to start a business kind of like yours, and I was wondering if you can ask or answer a few questions for me. And that one quick phone call turned into a 4-hour phone call, and for me, that was kind of like that phone call was the foundation for what we've built now today. And so I'm really kind of thankful for that. Like, somebody didn't have to call and talk to me for 4 hours like that. So, I feel like.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I think that I was similar because, I'm 10 years after you. I got started in 2010, but there still wasn't like mobile bar Facebook groups, and it wasn't really a thing.
No.
And I built a name for myself as a mixologist, and I was one of the first guys in LA making fancy food drinks with fresh ingredients and making crazy syrups and whatever. And that's kind of how I got into it, right? As people would be like, hey, can you come bartend my party? And I'm like, oh, sure. And we actually threw a party at the Houdini Mansion, these DJs, these big DJs. That was another, we had to call the cops on our own party. It was another shit show.
Nice.
But the main thing that got me, and I wouldn't be here probably, or I wouldn't have built the business that I built, was a caterer. This guy Jerry Baker from a company called The Food Matters, big time caterer. I mean, he did the Super Bowl down in Houston. He does big events. But in our early days, he took us under his wing and gave us some of our first big clients like Discovery Channel and Olay Makeup, and we did Greg Norman, the golfer, his daughter's wedding in Santa Barbara. But he taught me about like pack lists, and he had a fleet of Mercedes Sprinters. And probably one of the bigger mistakes I made is he wanted to actually be a partner with Black Lab and have a stake in it, and actually like open up some small bar in like the valley somewhere we could open for cheap and just put a manager in it just for licensing and really like grow the business fast. And we, had been working together, I think like 6-7 months. We made like $80,000. So it was like, really good start for that. But, it all was coming from him. So I, and my partner, I think it was like maybe more my partner. So I started Black Lab with a girlfriend that, is no longer a girlfriend, and she got let out a few years ago. But we wanted him to buy into the business like assholes. Now that I know business and I look back at my 3-year-old self, and I'm like, oh my God, I was so delusional.
Yeah, we had no idea.
He's like, you want to buy into a business that I basically help you build, like all your customers or what I give you, and like he's like, I can take you into my operations, give you a full production facility, a fleet of vans. We can even wrap a couple of the vans with Black Lab or throw some logos on there, and do all of that. And we didn't do it. We didn't do it, and I'm happy because I learned a lot from doing it ourselves and everything, but. Yeah, probably a mistake in the long run. Now that I think about it, we probably could have been a 7-figure business a hell of a lot
faster. Right. No,
oh yeah, probably like within 2 years versus 8, 9 years.
I know. I like to consider ourselves a 22-year overnight success company. So,
that's everyone. Did you watch that Mr. Beast interview? Like either with Joe Rogan or his on another one. That he's like, people think I'm some overnight success. Anyone who doesn't know what Mr. Beast is, get out from under a rock. Biggest YouTuber of all time. But he'd been doing it since he was 13. He by the time he started actually getting paid, he had already had 10 years in it. It's just he started, or maybe he was like 11. He was like 11. And then by the time he was like 19, he was starting to make, I think, like, 10, 20,000 a month, which still isn't even a million. But that 10-year overnight success, man.
Yeah. And then that's the thing, man. It's like everybody always says, I'm sure you meet a lot of people and said, man, I'd like to have, I wish I was as successful, as you. And I just said, man, I don't know if you're willing to do what I've done to get to where we are, because, it's like you gotta have, there's so many sleepless nights, so many days where I went, like, I think 42 hours is the longest I've gone without sleeping, trying to get ready for events, because I was so stressed, and then it's like I just couldn't sleep, and so that's the, that's the kind of like the price you have to pay, for, if you really want to do this business. I think somebody asked me once.
What do they say? They say entrepreneurs will work 80 hours a week to avoid a 40-hour job.
Work week. Dude, that, to be honest, yeah, seriously. I think somebody also had asked me, like, hey, what's the number one thing I need to, to start my business? And I told somebody, like, you need a reason. You need a why. Like, it's like, why are you doing this? It's like, it's got to be strong enough to go through all the stuff. Like, man, if only I could see, like,
you got to have a passion.
Yeah, like, this is it. Because, like, when shit hits the fan and everything's like, oh, I don't know if I could do this, you got to have that thing that gets you over it, because, it's hard enough to do it. And then whenever it becomes hard, like right in front of your face, you got to be able to find a reason why you want to keep doing this. So if you got a good reason, man.
1,000%.
Yep.
That's I'm a little spoiled with Black Lab, that honestly, it was hard, but it wasn't that hard. Just because I had built a big name for myself in the mixology bar community, and was working at the right restaurants, meeting the right people like that caterer. But Ecench has been the hardest thing that I've ever done. Ever. It's pushed me to my lowest of lows. And I'm 10 years sober, so I went through some shit 10 years ago.
Congratulations, man. Congratulations on that.
Thank you, man. Thank you. But yeah, dude, it's because, I wasn't a technologist. I wasn't I'm not an engineer. I was somewhat tech savvy. I could do like a Squarespace website. That Black Lab site, I built the whole thing myself on Squarespace, but that's like no code, more like having decent design skills. But yeah, that's when I learned about the true hardships of entrepreneurship, like figuring out like how I'm gonna eat, especially when COVID hit. Like, I mean, everything I had was in Ecench, and it wasn't making enough money, and Black Lab dried up for 18 months. It got dark. But, I think that's when you learn your lessons, right? That's when you really become the person of worth and substance, is like, not through easy times. Who learns lessons during the good times? It's good. It's easy. There's no lessons to be learned.
Dude.
Just enjoy it.
I wish I could.
The shit, that's how you learn.
I wish I could share, maybe a little bit more sometime down person why, like, I had to start this, because, yeah, it was kind of like I had no other choice. It was either succeed or that was it. So it was, sometimes that's what kind of like, that's what hits you, and that's what you have to face. But
was that your first attempt at entrepreneurship? Was your bar business? Was HD?
No, man. It's like, I've been it's like 96. I was like, what did I start? Here's the thing. Here's the funny thing. So in 1996, man, I started this company called what do you call it? Personal Grocery Services. Okay, and then I had the vision back then to say, hey, you know what'd be cool? I think somebody wants me to go buy groceries for them. So you know what? Like, so I I flyered like all the Krogers in the supermarkets around my area. I bought mailing lists, for people that had like, certain income, in certain zip codes, for those of you that remember, people still do that. And then I send out mailing lists. And so I was like, all right, I am ready. And then I had a fax machine. This was before email. So it's like, because like, this is like, working moms or whoever that's like, if you're at home, just, or you're at work, just fax me your grocery list and I'll go get it for you.
You invented Instacart,
dude.
before
I did,
existed.
man. I didn't have a website, but
No website.
look, it was called Personal Grocery Services, man. And then afterwards,
You
I
should hit
didn't.
them up, ask for some free shares.
Dude, I came out and it's like, I finally got my first few orders. I come in and let me tell you something. For a single guy who didn't know how to shop for himself, man, I was not able to shop for a family. Okay, there's so many times I effed up on, ground beef. like I didn't even. There's so many things where I'm like, oh, I don't even know what this is. And then that was before cell phones were a thing, So I'd come back. It's like, here's your order. They're like, that's not what I wanted. That's not. This is screwed up. You're gonna have to go back. I was like, oh, this is not gonna work out. The idea was great. 20.
It was ahead of its time.
26 years. Listen, dude, I was a visionary. Let me tell you that.
Hey.
So
Hey,
I could go back in time.
Being too early is just as bad as being wrong.
Seriously, man. I was like, even looking back at it now, like between Instacart and all this, is like we just didn't have the tools, right? Because like a fax machine, with thermal paper just didn't do it. Okay. So, but
Well, when I came up with eSense, dude, I was trying to solve a problem. I went to Shopify, I went to BigCommerce, I went to Squarespace. I looked everywhere first. I was like, this has to exist. And when it didn't, that's when my little entrepreneur reptilian brain was like, oh, this could be.
no, man.
Like I had it in my head of what I wanted it to do. And it's still, to be quite honest, and we're building features and working on it and fundraising and doing all of the startup stuff now to try to grow the platform to where we want it to be, because it's like still like in my mind maybe like 15-20% of what I know it can be. But even from day one, like I knew how it needed to operate exactly. I think that was my biggest advantage, not knowing the software industry but knowing the event industry. And I was selling food at that time on my partner's food to my corporate clients. So yeah, that vision just came to me. I will never forget, I was driving down Rodeo Drive, heading to like one of the stores that we were doing an event at, and I had this idea. I called my friend Paul, who I know is an engineer, who's not my CTO and co-founder and partner, and I was like, dude, here's this. Can we do this? He's like, yeah, we can do that. Hell yeah. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's there, man.
So idealistic. I was going to be a billionaire in like 3 years, and now it's 3 years later.
Hey, dude, it'll happen, man. Listen, you know what? You don't have housewives derailing your dream, okay? So,
No, I've put everything on hold for entrepreneurship. No wife, no kids.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know now as I'm getting older. I'm like, it's a really bad decision.
It's kind of funny you're talking about it. Like when I first started it too, it was like part of the reason I started my party bartenders business too was I was trying to impress a girl. That was kind of like part two of it, and then, it's like she wasn't impressed, but the business is still here. So, yeah, chalk that up as a win, right? Just like you.
Hey, at least it gave you the motivation.
Yeah, it did. I was telling, another thing too is like in 2004 when I graduated college, I actually had my bartending business, and then I decided to sell it to my partner, because I'm like, okay, I have a college degree now. I am going to go off, and like I said, I'm going to work my way up to like middle management. And because I graduated with a hospitality management degree from UNT. And yeah, so when he did the divvied up everything, I was like, all right, give me $5,000. Give me the office chair, a bottle of Patron, and then the bottle of Dom, and then we're set. And he's like, all right, I'll take it. So I sold it to him because I was like, I didn't want to have anything to do with it. But then luckily a few years later, after my non-compete ended, he didn't really do anything with the business. So I just picked it back up and turned it into what we're doing now.
Did you get back the same business, or did you just start?
Yeah, because you know what? He didn't do anything. He didn't do anything to really push the business. Like he just kept on, relying on
what was coming in.
Right, what was coming in. But then this, like, look, business dries up. Like relationships, people move. People change from different times. Like I've had like really sweet gigs, when I first started, and then I thought this is it. I don't have to keep working anymore, and then it gets lost. So now that's why it's like. For us, it's like it's very ABC, always be closing. Like always find new opportunities, no matter how how successful even we think we are. You know, we got to like keep going. Like, and then like I said, venues are like the number one thing for us. We're lucky enough that here in Dallas, you know, Emily, you know this, like there's so many venues that are opening up. I feel like every time you turn around, it's somebody saying, "Hey, I'm opening a wedding venue."
The opposite problem. Some of my key venues I'm partnered with are closing because of new ordinances in Malibu.
Yeah.
So it's like you say, if you stop, things dry up, things go away. You maintain with them. Like, this is a venue we do 3 to 4 events every weekend at. Big client for us.
Yep.
Where they have preferred vendors, but we're like the optimal. Like, everyone that goes through that venue has to see our services first before they get the preferred vendor list. It's a sweet deal. But yeah, it's totally, with changes in city ordinances, it's a winery in Malibu, and they're all stopping events.
Yeah,
oh my God! And then Neiman Marcus went bankrupt during COVID, and that was my biggest corporate client. We were there probably 10 times a month at least, if not more. And yeah, the second you quit, you either gonna go out of business or you're never gonna grow.
Yeah, you can't. You know, it's kind of like I always tell people. It's like sports, man. You know, it's like just because you have, like, you know, Tom Brady that's winning, you know, eventually that's gonna dry up. Like, you know, you always have to keep developing. You always have to keep working on, you know, on your business and everything. But hey, Joel, I feel like, man, I'm just looking at it like, crap, man. It's already. I feel like I've overshot my time with you here. I really appreciate it. I know the last time we talked was like,
actually, I have one question.
What's that?
Because you got 10 years on me in the industry, and this is something I've been wanting to ask you. If I'm not mistaken, part of your growth has been through acquisition. Is that correct?
Some. It's been kind of, you know, like I said, we've taken over. You know, we've partnered up with different. It's not even really acquisition as much as it is partnerships. You know, because like here in Texas, you know, we have a liquor license, and I'm actually partnering up with several bartending companies like in Austin and here to kind of like help them along the way, because that's how we started before we had our liquor license. We actually had, and then to be honest with you too, is like, I don't know, maybe even some of them are listening right now. It's like, I definitely want to do like a partnership because, you know, like, I guess you can say my partnership with Heather was kind of like, it was somewhat of an acquisition, you know, because the good thing was I just kind of like incorporated all our systems, you know, together, you know, and I just said, hey, look, let me do all the networking, let me do all the, you know, all the sales and marketing and everything, and then you take care of like, you know, billing, booking, accounting, taxes, everything, you know. And so I feel like I'm looking at some of our other bartending companies that I think like are really good to be able to partner with them. And then, you know, it's like acquisition is such a bad word, I think, you know, because somebody thinks that, oh, hey, I'm going to take over your business. That's
in the startup tech world, it's a positive thing to get acquired, right? But
right,
I guess those companies are making a lot of money.
Right. No, that's the thing. Is that
if they're really running clean, they get maybe 1.5 times profit.
Right.
So,
you know, but at the same time, it's really more about like just, you know what, just market share over here for us is like, I just want to, there's a lot of like, you know, entrepreneurs here that are doing their business that I really love what they're doing. And then they're not, and we can't do it. You know, sometimes we're a little bit too big to have to do something like really specialized. But
you know,
no,
I get that. I've even gotten that way more when I left Blacklaw. I was like, all right, we're just going to focus on this. We're going to cut the classes. We're going to cut some of the stuff just because, like, you know, I was the one leading the classes. I was the one, like, so basically the stuff that involved me, I just cut out of the business. And we still grew 68% the year I left, just focusing on our core competency, which is like executing badass bars for private events.
Right. It's like we just want to stay in our lane, but at the same time, it's like I love, you know, like there's so many different companies, you know, like even, you know, like Emily, I don't want to throw you into this mix, but like I'm looking what Emily does, and then on her stuff, it's like there's no way we can ever do that. Like her, you know, with
Emily's a badass. She's the most dedicated cincher. She comes to every webinar. She has a thirst to learn, and I'm not saying this because I don't even know. I'm not looking at the computer anymore. I don't know if Emily's still here, but I will give her that. She, out of the hundreds of people that I work with and talk with, is a beast. She's in it to win it.
Yeah,
she definitely impresses me.
And that's the only thing.
I think you guys should have something going there for sure. I'm going to promote that.
Right, and that's our number one thing is like, you know what, because, you know, a lot of, you know, like business owners are still kind of like in the in the startup phase, where they are. And so they don't really know yet, it's like for somebody like me to come in and say, hey, you know what, you should work with us and we should partner with us because I feel like we could really help you kind of grow, because it's really all about systems. That's the hardest thing, to go from one, from doing one event, at a time. It's like, I remember the first time I ever did 2 events at the same time. And I felt like, dude, I am a freaking beast right now. It's like,
What's the most events you've done in a day? It's got to be a big number.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, dude. Like, I don't ever want to get to that point, but we did 25 in one day.
Oh,
and so,
God.
Dude, I don't know. It's like my butt's still hurting from that, dude, because it is literally like, yeah, it's crazy. But but going back.
How old was your business when you started doing these partnerships?
What's that?
Sorry to cut you off. That's
No, that's okay.
I wanted to know, like, how old was your business when you started doing these partnerships?
So I was like, my business partner Heather, it's kind of funny how it started was, I'd already had a company called Party Bartenders, and then in 2013, 2013, she kind of reached over to me and because we worked at the same bar, and she said, hey, I know that you have a business doing bartending, and she needed to make extra money on the side. She said, can you show me how to get one started? And I'm like, yeah, I'll show you, because I tell I'm very okay with sharing all the time, like how to do this. A lot of people just don't do it, and so.
Yeah, you can share all day long.
Dude,
most people don't execute.
Right. It's like, look, here's the playbook, but then executing is another thing. But, but let me tell you what, like her why, like on why she needed to make money on the side was so strong that she just literally just, was a beast. Okay. And then afterwards, I just saw how she kept on growing her business to a point to where like we became competitors. But I would tell her like, hey, I've got this. I'm like, oh, hey, I won that. I'm like, okay, that's not cool. But she turn around, but then she turn around and say, hey, but then she turn around and say, hey, but I need your help putting it together because, I don't have the kind of like the, like the, what do you call it? Like the bars or the trucks or anything like that. It's like, okay, cool. So we split it. So finally it got to the point to where like, why are we both doing marketing? Why are we both doing networking and all of these things when we can just split that up and then do that? And then, so that was kind of like, so yeah, in a way that was kind of an acquisition for both of us. And we just changed it. Yeah,
so
we
more
just
like
changed
a merger, right?
Yeah, as a merger, and it was kind of like the best thing ever because I can actually focus on what I love to do, and that's because let me tell you what, man, it's like payroll sucks for me. It's like I had bartenders.
Dude,
like, I will be honest. Like there was many times where I would just tell my bartenders, like, just tell me how much I owe you, okay? And then some guy would be like, dude, you owe me $1,700. I was like, what? Like for how many events? It's like for the last 12. Like. Jesus, okay.
I had to run a pretty big payroll today, and I was busy with Eastern stuff, and my kitchen guy is actually really good at data entry, and he's done stuff like that in the past, so I gave him payroll, I don't know, a few months back, and I go to check the payroll at the big one because we've been really busy, and I'm like, oh, shit. I was like, did you double check everything? Yes. One guy had underpaid, so I owed some extra dollars too, so I was like, did you get this guy? He did it all perfect. I'm like, all right, fine. That's good. But yeah, getting those things in off your plate, and like for newer people out there that are considering partnering or starting a business with a partner, the biggest advice on that is don't pick a partner that does what you do.
No,
right?
man.
You need to have an opposite skill set so that they're working on one part of the business that they're good at. Whether that, for me, that I've all, like, and another creepy thing, people don't know this, that Don and I are from the same hometown, Abilene, Texas. Shout out. What?
Yeah, listen, Abilene. I don't know if you know that. Like Abilene is the home of like it's a breeding ground for. What do you call it? Mobile bar entrepreneurs. I'll tell you that.
Is it?
Yeah. Look at the two of us, man.
Besides that, both being from Abilene, both having mobile bar businesses. Also, my original business partner's name was Heather. So there's one more.
Look at that, man. Yeah, look at that. That's how it works, dude. Yeah, because going back is like if anybody out there has partnerships, with everybody. Listen, I had partners for like, I had like 3-4 partners along the way before I met Heather. And then it was literally the same thing. Like we both did the same thing to the point to where like I had to look at all of them and like, what do you do here? Because like I do this better, I do this better, I do this better. And it's like I'm not trying to say I was better than them, but at some point in there, like what kind of value were they giving that I couldn't do? So it was literally like after a while I just realized like, okay, if I'm the smartest guy in the room, then then this isn't a good idea.
Then you haven't partnered. Yeah, you haven't built the right team. That's
no,
what
I didn't.
I'm trying to build my e-sense board.
Yeah, that's why right now. Yeah.
Danielle Facebook, and she's complete opposite from me. I'm a visionary. I'm a big thinker. I do better at that than in the minutia of the details.
Dude,
And
yeah.
she's
Like,
more
don't
the
ask me.
minutia of the detail, operations, operator type, and you should be sitting around your boardroom or your whatever dining room table if it's a small team, and everyone around you should be a million times better at what they do.
Yeah, dude, don't ask me to send you a proposal because I will literally, like, it's like the good thing was I started it, like I showed them how to do it, but then they have run with it to the point where it's not even anything that I showed them before. So, I just think the best thing I could do with my team is just get the F out of their way, because whenever I try to like dabble in what they're doing, it's just like I just slow them down. I just waste their time. So I go, all right, I'm just gonna go do what I can do, and like what the only thing. So for me, it's like I said, networking, just show face around, and then just make everybody feel good about being partners with us. But yeah, I mean, going back and final part of that acquisition thing is like, somebody has to be ready to partner, before it can really do it, and so far right now, like around here, it's still a very young kind of, it's such a young, phase right now. It's like it's still early, so I'm hoping maybe in a few years because, God, there's so many things that people are doing that's awesome. I think the only thing that we've done actually, looking back, is we've acquired mobile bars, like the actual trailer bars. So we haven't done any of our builds. Like we've done, the only thing that we've done is like we've taken over 4 different trailer bars. So we have 2 RVs, 1 horse trailer, and 1 VW bus bar. So that's kind of like from an acquisition standpoint, that's where we've taken over 4
So
of those.
just people who built them thought they wanted to do it, did it for 6 months to a year, decided it's too much work, and then wanted to sell their trailer. Yeah.
Correct, because it wasn't.
And that's the situation. Do you keep their branding, or do you just put it all under HD?
Both, actually. So we run a separate. We have a separate entity. It's called Cantina Caravan, and then from that we run all of our rentals through, and then we have somebody else running that for us, and then doing all the marketing and the sales for that. So we try not to kind of like put them together, because if not, it just becomes a little confusing. So if she sells it, all we would want to do is make sure she sells it for rentals, and then if they need cocktails and bar with that, then she kicks it over to HD, and then we take it right from there. And so it's a separate like crew of people sending it over there to deliver it, pick it up, because it got really hard, getting the same people like bartenders to send them out to do trailer work, and everything. It's like these guys can't even back up a trailer.
Yeah, it's a whole different beat.
Spot.
Getting the stuff there, being like a rental delivery company is different. A rental company is different, especially those trailers. Like I see a lot of those posts on the groups as well.
Oh, I know.
Oh my God, how do I back this thing up? Give me an hour and a half to get to the spot.
Dude, it's amazing how many people that are, no offense, like I love the, the eagerness and everything, but dude, I would not have bought a trailer bar if I didn't know how to back one up or pull one or have a vehicle to pull one, because it's almost like, dude, this is hard. And like, it took me years to finally feel comfortable, backing one up. It's like, I've been trying to. Have you ever tried to back up a boat into a ramp?
I was gonna say that's
it's like when people are watching. It's like, oh, I'm sweating. My hands are all clammy. It's like Jesus.
Dude, we went boating with my friend. My friend had a big old, I think like a 32-foot boat. It was big. It had like a inside cabin in it and everything. And we went a couple summers ago out to the lake and rented a slip so we could stay overnight and all that fun stuff. And we put the boat in the water. We're cruising around and the prop just gives out on us. So I backed the trailer in, pulled the boat out. He had a spare prop, put the new prop on, went out cruising around. That one stripped out on us. Had to go get the trailer, put it back in. That day, I took the boat in and out of the water 4 times.
Yeah, dude, that's what happens, man.
I'm just like, damn it again. I got really good at it, though. So that anxiety every time. The thing is, the small boats are actually much harder. That's why I can see how the trailers, because they're short, can be more difficult, because there's way more action when you just barely. We rent these little tiny. Yeah, we rent these tiny small boats to go in Wyoming trout fishing, fly fishing down this river, and that's harder to back up than the damn 32-foot boat.
Yeah, listen, the first time I did the trailer bar when we first got it, you know, I had to unhitch it and then literally just pick it up by hand and move it into, because I did not want to have to like deal with everybody. Like everybody's waiting for me, and I'm like, okay, Jesus, I will get this.
Yeah, the people that are smart that can't do it, they just buy those trailer dollies. I've seen a few people that have those trailer dollies.
I finally got one too. But now I'm like, dude, I can do it with my eyes closed. But anyway, hey, Joel, hey, man, thank you so much. I know this was kind of impromptu. I appreciate you jumping on. You know, it's like, look, I love talking shop about this. You know, it's like anybody else who's listening, like if you want to call in, like I'll post the next time we do this. If you just want to chat, talk about your business and then how we can help you out, like, or how I can help you out. You know, it's like I'm not really big on giving advice, but you know, I'll just tell you exactly all the stuff that we did and how we effed up. So if you can learn from that, you know what, then that's awesome. But anyway, thanks, Joel.
Dude, I
appreciate
blast,
it, man.
I had a blast. Yeah. My pleasure, dude.
Thank you.
Let's do this again.
Yeah,
I think there may be a Don and Joel show in the future.
Dude, I am so down with that. Yeah.
I'm not even kidding.
No,
hey,
man.
Let's talk, man.
Oh, well, we'll do.
We've got lots to talk about.
All right, you have a good night, brother. All right.
Thanks, man.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, guys. I know we kind of ran like way super late. Thank you to Joel Black with you know, with eCinch and with Black Lab Events. That was like really cool. We didn't really plan on doing that. All I had him do was gonna call in and test to see if our call-in feature was working. And yeah, sure enough, like, you know what, like 48, 50 minutes later, yeah, I think it worked, right, Clark?
It sure did.
Yep. So anyway, hey, for everyone here that joined and hung out, especially Emily, man, you're the MVP right now for being our number one fan for this show today. I appreciate it. Like, listen, I think you got my number. Hopefully you got my number on the sometime from the live stream right there. Like, yeah, please reach out, give me a call if you ever have any questions about anything. You know, it's like, or if there's anything I can do to help you out with your business since you're local, I'd love to be able to do that. And then for anybody else out there, keep an eye on our live stream. Especially I'll put it up on YouTube. I'll put it out a little bit more sooner. Like I'll probably put it out 3 or 4 days before the next time we do this. And this is probably a good time for us, like on Thursdays, to do it. So until the next time, thanks a lot, guys. Cheers. Hey, mobile bartenders. Welcome to Mobile Bar Startup. My name is Don, and I own HD Liquid Catering, based in Dallas, Texas. I started my mobile bar business in 2000, and since then, we have done thousands of weddings and events and pretty much seen everything. We've also grown our business out of the garage back in 2000 and into a warehouse with 3 full-time salespeople, management, warehouse team, and drivers, along with countless numbers of bartenders. Mobile Bar Startup is about sharing with you everything that we have been through growing our business in hopes that I can help you answer questions about the business and save you time and money in the process. And just remember, none of this is business or financial or personal advice. I'm just sharing all the things that I've done to help us get to where we are.